Welcome to Models Talk. Let's talk about it.
Yes, yes, yes. This is your girl Zaharraa Geyhanna saying, yes, y'all, it is now 2025. And look, we have in the house Miss Virginia Long. Hey, Miss
Hello,
Virginia Long,
hello.
welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're more than welcome. Thank you for coming on.
You're welcome.
We have some big things planned, right?
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. You are in.
I am in Houston, Texas.
All right. My son's in Houston.
Okay.
Yes, he is.
I
How
love it
is
here.
Houston?
Hmm.
How is Houston?
Good. I love
Yeah.
it. Yes, I love it. I'm originally from Michigan,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm still getting used to the heat, but besides that, I love it.
Okay. So how is it in the fall? Because Michigan, you'd have snow up to your neck by now.
Right. In the
Okay.
fall, it's pretty hot. It was still hot up until Sept. No, until October.
Oh yeah. So what is it
Mhm.
like now?
So now we're under a freeze warning. So
And what is that degree for you all?
for us, it's in the low 20s.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because it's in the teens here in Atlanta.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Well, I hope y'all don't get snow.
I hope not either, because they don't know how to deal with it.
No, they're not gonna know how to deal with all that.
They've already closed the schools and shut the city down. So,
Stop it.
mm,
Stop it. You sound like Atlanta.
yeah.
Sounds just like Atlanta. So what makes you want to bring a show to Atlanta?
Well, I've been to Atlanta. I've done a show in Atlanta before, but that was some years ago. So
Mm-hmm.
now that the business has grown, we've matured a little bit. I wanted to bring it back.
Okay.
Hmm.
Well, tell me something. What is the purpose of your show and tell us what it is called, madame?
Okay. So my shows are called Blessed Beyond Measure Fashion Tour.
Mm-hmm.
And what I do is I host events and also fashion shows in support of different diseases and things that's going on in the community so that I can educate our people on different things. So this particular show is for Graves' disease. A lot of people don't know what Graves' disease is.
Mm-hmm.
So we are going to have some speakers come in and tell us what it's about, how they can, what symptoms you have to look for, how they can get help, and yeah, that's about it.
Okay. Do you know someone with Graves' disease? Oh, look at the wonderful flyer. I'm sorry. Can you put that back up, Louis? Okay, here's the information. Okay. That is beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've been promoting very heavily for you.
I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. I'm participating in the show, so I'm looking forward to it. We're down at Atlanta City Hall.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love
that's a beautiful place to
it. It
shoot.
is. It is.
Yeah. How many designers do we have in the show?
We have 9 designers.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I
We
see facts.
Yeah, we have Fats. We have Sunny Bees Boutique. We've
Okay.
got a couple coming from Houston, which is Akeem Designs and Fashions. Um, Lavish Minds Apparel.
Mm-hmm.
We have one young lady coming from Delaware, and
Okay.
hers is Shayna Slay.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a brand myself, so I'll be putting my brand on the runway.
All
We
right now.
also have um, Geo Nika, which is
Mm-hmm.
a designer that's there in Atlanta,
Okay.
and I think that's it.
Oh, it sounds
Oh, and
wonderful.
Edward from
Edward
Atlanta.
Edward Lee's.
Mm-hmm.
I love Edward stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Sunny Bees. I love Fats. The other designers I'm not familiar with, but I'm willing to familiarize myself with them.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So it sounds like you're going to have a very eclectic show.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, wonderful. What do you look for when you're looking at your models?
Honestly, being dependable is the very first thing that I look for. Um, I don't look at the height. I don't look at the weight, because I was always teased growing up for being dark.
Mm-hmm.
So it made me have a complex about myself. So
Mm-hmm.
therefore, I don't want someone that wants to model me turn them down and say, hey, you can't do it because you're not tall enough or you're not small enough. I don't want people to ever feel like I felt. So I give everyone an opportunity because you have to start from somewhere.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a good philosophy to have.
Hmm.
What do you expect us to bring to the table?
Professionalism
Mm-hmm.
and um, just be able to, show the designers fashion so that they can have others, purchase from them. Um, I want you guys to be, like I said, dependability is number one. Um, I just want you guys to come out and have fun and get educated as well.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I think having an education on Graves' disease and many others that are hitting our community is a fabulous way to do this, with a show about awareness,
Hmm.
and I will walk for an awareness show anytime, anywhere, any day, because I'm a lupus warrior, you
Okay.
know, and so being a lupus warrior, I've walked for shows and dealing with lupus and the lupus awareness, and it's still not touching enough of us in our community.
Right.
We still have to continue the education on it and ask a lot of questions and have answers for those questions.
Hmm.
Will there be anyone from the Graves disease as a representative organization?
It won't be, but they sent some pamphlets and brochures on Graves' disease and that I'll pass out to the audience. But we do have a doctor coming in,
Mm-hmm.
and she's going to be able to explain Graves' disease from a doctor's standpoint. And
Okay.
then we also have a model that has Graves' disease that's going to talk about living with it.
Okay. Can you give us any information on Graves' disease yourself?
The only thing that I can tell you, which I have read upon it, but I really don't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one reason that I like to educate is because I'm learning in the process too.
I understand.
Graves' disease is like an autoimmune disease that it also deals with your thyroids.
Right.
Yep. So
And it
we'll
also
learn.
deals with the bulging of the eyes as well. I've
Yeah.
heard.
Yeah.
That's one of the symptoms that you can have, bulging of the eyes and torn retinas and things like that,
Hmm.
that occur with Graves' disease. I'm not familiar with Graves' disease that much myself, and I know I need to do some research on it myself. Even before I come to the show, I like to be educated
Hmm.
and know what I'm walking for. You know,
Right.
and so, being in the business for over 50 years, that's something that I've always done as a part of me being a professional and coming in and doing shows, every year for different organizations and different producers that are producing awareness shows.
Hmm.
And that's very important to me to be educated on what I'm walking for. So
Right.
thank you. I'm going to look forward to hearing the doctor's statements and the model statement as well, because I'm sure it's quite hard for her to be a Graves' disease warrior,
Right.
and do what we do, you
Right.
know. Um, as a producer, tell me, how do you decide on what you want to produce?
Well, my very first show I did was inspired by my aunt, which
Mm-hmm.
she had lung cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And she passed from lung cancer, and I did a lot of research on it. And I wanted to let other people know about it because when she found out about it, she was already at stage 4.
Mm-hmm.
So that didn't give us a lot of room to, research it and with the doctors and different things like that because it took her very quickly.
Okay.
So I pick diseases and things that go on in the community that we normally don't hear about because nobody hears about Graves' disease.
Correct.
I did one for pancreatic cancer.
Mm-hmm.
That's just now becoming more of a bigger thing, but a lot of people, didn't know about pancreatic cancer. Or I did one for multiple sclerosis, so I just pick different things that we're not normally used to hearing about.
Correct. I understand that. My
Hmm.
grandmother died of pancreatic cancer, and I just had a friend of mine die of pancreatic cancer. So
Okay.
I understand the nature of that beast.
Hmm.
You know, and I was 13 when my grandmother died of pancreatic cancer.
Okay.
So I really got to, I watched her go to her grave,
Hmm.
literally. And that was a very hard disease to watch someone die from,
Yeah.
you know,
My
very hard.
uncle just had it,
Uh-huh.
but he's actually in remission.
Oh, wonderful.
So
Congratulations.
thank you. That was amazing because a lot of people don't go into remission with pancreatic cancer.
No, they don't. They don't. The survival rate is very low
Right.
because you can't survive without your pancreas.
Hmm.
And Graves' disease is interesting because it's an autoimmune as well, like lupus. You know,
Right.
I have systemic lupus erythematosus. Have you ever thought about doing a show about lupus awareness?
I have
Okay.
done lupus, I think twice,
Okay.
because my stepmom has lupus and she's had it for almost 30 years now. So
Understand?
I know lupus and what it does to your body and how it affects you. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been diagnosed since 1991, so I'm over 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm 60 years old. So I've had it for a very long time since I was 27. It took them 3 years to diagnose me.
Wow.
Yeah, it took them 3 years, and I died. Well, I've died twice, and almost died the third time.
Well, it's a blessing that you're here today.
Yeah, thank you so much. I do take a lot of medication. I do take 40 pills in the morning and 10 at night because I can't sleep. Um, and the 40 pills in the morning are a vitamin and pharmacology type of mixture in
Hmm.
order for me to be able to walk, stand, not
Hmm.
have chronic joint pain. I have fibromyalgia with my lupus.
Hmm.
You know, um, Unfortunately, I've had 19 surgeries on my stomach and then ended up with a hiatal hernia, which the medicine was also part of the contribution to that. And I had to have my colon removed, because I don't have an immune system to fight those kind of things. And
Hmm.
that's all due to autoimmune. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I understand your plight.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very hard disease, and I can only imagine what Graves is like, for the model that's coming in. I would love to talk to her, and see how she handles it. You know,
Right.
they all handle it differently, you
Right.
know. So with this Graves disease performance from us,
Hmm.
what do you expect your audience to receive?
I hope that they receive um, the knowledge of this particular disease and that they can take it and they can share with other people and just spread the news about what Graves' disease is, or that way they'll be able to know if they're having some symptoms or somebody else is having symptoms. Then they'll be able to know about it. And I also want people to stay encouraged with this event. you know we have a lot of people that has different diseases. I think there's another young lady that has lupus that's walking. So you know with all these different people that are walking with these different issues, they're still continuing to do what they do. So
Hmm.
I want
Hmm.
the audience to be, stay encouraged and let them know that you can do this.
Right, right.
Hmm.
Well, I know I'm walking in my dream, and I had this dream since I was 5 years old. That's why I've been in the business so long,
Hmm.
And I'm walking in my dream now. We weren't wanted when we were in the 70s and 80s. We didn't have a lot of black models back then, but I do have my role models that I pull from and always have pulled from and will continue. My women of courage that I represent or try to represent and hold myself to that esteem, as a professional. Um, you said you give all types and sizes a start. What
Hmm.
made you do that?
Like I was saying, I didn't want to turn people away. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't want them to feel like they're less than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted them to be encouraged. I want to uplift people. And like I said, I never wanted anybody to feel like I felt growing up. So like I felt like I couldn't um I can't get think of the word I want to say, but I don't want them to feel like they can't do things just because of of a particular size or height or skin tone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Well, what
so
do you think about the surgeons now of full figure models?
full figure models, I think I think it's great because to an extent, I'm gonna say that because some people can take it a little bit too far, but I think it's
You know, you
great.
have to explain that, right?
Yeah, I think it's great because it gives everybody that push to do what it is that they have a dream to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they don't have to worry about being judged because of their size
Right.
or something like that. But what I
You
meant
said to
about
an
was
extent. What do you mean by to an extent?
to an extent sometimes, and this took a lady to pull me over to the side from one of my shows.
Okay.
She said, you need to make sure that when your plus size models are coming out, that they are together. And when I
Mm-hmm.
say together, that means, no extra body parts hanging out, and make sure they have on the proper
Undergarments.
undergarments and attire. And after she did that, I started to kind of focus a little bit more on that so
Mm-hmm.
that nobody else will come back to me and say, hey, well, this is what you need to do with your show. So that's
Mm-hmm.
what I meant by that. You just need to be mindful of how you present yourself.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. I think that anybody that has lumps, bumps, ripples, and rolls, be it 5'2" and 180 pounds, or 5'11", 6 feet tall and 180 pounds. Anybody, be it you are 20 years old, 17 years old, or 60 years old, or 65 years old.
Hmm.
Crinkles, wrinkles, bumps, and lumps need to be put in order and put in check. That means wearing proper undergarment so that you can represent not only yourself
Hmm.
in the best light, but also represent your designer in the best.
Right.
I
Right.
do not want my clothes ever to be too tight on me to the point where they're rippling and rolling, and I am not a representative in the best light for not only myself, but for my designer first and foremost.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I've seen too many shows where too many people, I mean, I even wear hosiery. I'm 5'11", 130 pounds. I wear hosiery. I wear my Spanx and my support bra, and I have it in multiple colors, multiple styles, multiple um, um, strapless. With the body shaper in it.
Hmm.
The skirt. I wear slips undergarments that need slips underneath them. I may be old school, but I will represent my designer to the best of my ability at all times.
Right.
I even wear leggings underneath pants because I don't want my flabby behind hanging down too low.
Hmm. Yep, I agree.
I may look flat in the back, but I won't be lumpy, bumpy, and rolling like I look when I'm butt naked and looking crazy. you
Yeah,
know,
I get it.
you know what I'm saying? And I
Hmm.
think that more designers need to require that. you know,
Right.
because some designers appreciate women coming as they are. But if you want the best representation, then you should expect the best representation
Hmm.
and professionalism.
Right. When we put the groups together for the designers and the models, we always put in there what you should bring in your bag, which includes the proper undergarments and um hygiene things, different things like that, so that you'll already know what we expect because we put this in the
in
group
the
work.
chat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Well, with your expectancies, you know, do you talk about personal hygiene? Because I've seen and smelled some things that just ain't right. And I know that we put it in there. What do you do when you have a model come in and she's just not right? And
So
you hear it from a designer. How do
we
you handle
have we have a we give everybody swag bags. Your swag bag has deodorant, toothbrush, it has, feminine wipes, um, anything that you may need hygiene wise, we have in the bag. And so what we would do is pull you off to the side and let you know, hey, this is what's going on. We need you to kind of freshen up a little bit. Not to, embarrass them in front of the whole crowd or nothing like that.
it? Right,
So, that's basically what we would do.
right. I've also seen garments destroyed by makeup.
Mm-hmm.
Do you put into your group chat or I'll just say the chat, you know, about bringing something to put over the face or over the head? Because I'm one, as a bald woman, I'm one, I when I put my makeup on, I do my head as well. And
Mm-hmm.
I make sure that I use a pillowcase. And I suggest that to other models, to bring a whole pillowcase. If you don't want your hair mussed or whatever, you got oil sheen in your hair or whatever, in
Mm-hmm.
order not to get that on the designer's clothes, then put a not just a facial piece, but get everybody's got a pillowcase, a
Right.
standard pillowcase. Bring a pillowcase, put it over your head, and then put the people's stuff on. Put it on when you're taking the people's stuff off. That
Mm-hmm.
way you're not destroying people's clothes.
Right.
You put that warning out there for us models?
We do, and we also let you know that some of the designers will still say it's okay, but some of them they want to be paid for their garment. So it's like if you mess up this piece, you're gonna be responsible for it.
Mm-hmm.
We do put that out there so that you already know. Bring something to cover, so that you don't mess up the garment. Don't spray anything on it. Um, yeah, we do all of that because it's very important about not messing up somebody else's pieces.
Do you have a writ? Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hit that. Do you have a writ with your show? A notice that it states that we're not to take behind the scene shots. Um,
I
or
do have it's a little small contract, and it'll
Mhm.
give you the do's and don'ts of the runway. So like no gum chewing, no phone, no dancing on the runway. Keep it professional. We do have that because some people will come out chewing gum, or they'll come out and they're twerking on the runway or whatever. We have something that says that is not allowed.
Mhm. That's wonderful. That
Mhm.
is so wonderful because I've seen too many shows ruined with that. And as a professional, it's not something that I like to be a part of.
Right.
And that's not who I am. And I think it's a bad representation on the producer, on the designers, on us as models.
Hmm.
When if you're in a show that is representative of that, then that's fine. But it's a place for everything. And
Right.
not every show you need to drop it like it's hot.
Right. And it only takes one person to spread that, and it's gone from there.
Yes, it is. Yes,
Hmm.
it is. And I think that it makes it very hard for other models who are, up and coming. They see that, those that have been in the game a long time, you know, I've seen them do it too, get loose. That's what I call it, when people get loose.
Right.
And they do things that are detrimental to the show versus
Hmm.
being helpful to the show and
Hmm.
productive for the show. And I think that can be scary for everybody.
Right.
you know what do you think?
I think so too, because as I travel with these shows, so word of mouth is just about everything. Social media is everything. You have to watch as a producer, model. You have to watch what you say and how you say things, because you never know who's watching you.
Absolutely.
You can't hold a professional show, but you on social media, calling this one that and talking about this and talking about that, because it's not professional at all.
Correct.
So me myself, I try to do shows that's pleasing to every age bracket,
Mm-hmm.
because, and I always tell them, like with the music, no cursing. You don't want to offend anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be respectful to my guests. So yeah, I think that the way that the shows are handled is definitely, um, it falls back on us as producers. If it falls back on everybody's brand that's a part of the event.
Yes, I agree. I
Hmm.
agree 100%.
Hmm.
I'm looking forward to the show. You
Good.
know, I
I'm
am.
excited.
Yeah, I'm excited as well, and that's why, I try to hype it as much as I possibly can, in a weekly span,
Hmm.
several times over, on different platforms, and I'm trying to make sure that the awareness about Graves' disease is presented as well.
Hmm.
I think it's fabulous. I think it's much needed. And
Hmm.
it's interesting that you're touring with it. How have you been in other cities? What have you been received well?
Yes. And it's crazy because I chose to travel because I get more support.
You don't get the support there in Houston?
No, because I'm not originally from Houston. So
Okay.
it's a little bit harder to make your way or maneuver through the city, because you don't know a lot of people. And
Okay.
it's like, different cities have groups or cliques, I call them, of
Hmm.
people that hang together. And if you're not a part of that clique, then they're not dealing with you.
Right.
So
Right.
I make my way by traveling.
Okay. So
Um,
tell me some of the cities you've been to and tell me about your experiences.
I've been to, we've done LA,
Okay.
we've done Brooklyn, we've
Okay.
done Charlotte,
Hmm.
we've done Nashville, Memphis, New Orleans, Detroit. We went to Canada. That experience was awesome. To
Okay.
be able to do a show, we did them back to back because Detroit and Canada is right there together. So we
Hmm.
did Detroit one night and Canada the next night. And it just was an awesome experience to be able to go international and give models that international title.
Okay.
Um, Trying to think what else have we done.
Well, tell me about some of the experiences within the cities that you've just named.
Um, we did Brooklyn on a rooftop,
Hmm.
which was, we did it for mental health awareness,
Okay.
and it was like right across from the Statue of Liberty. So it was
Wow.
a beautiful view. Um, we had people that were able to come out and say that they had issues with mental illness.
Hmm.
So it was really a good show, because a lot of people, they feel like therapy is not a way to go, but we try to reiterate that therapy, it does help.
Hmm.
And that was one of my good shows. We did Shreveport, Louisiana for heart disease awareness,
Excuse me. Hmm.
and we had a sold out show. We had nurses come in and talk about heart disease and how heart disease leads to other things. Um, we had a slew of vendors, and each one of them, they did well. That was one of my favorite shows.
Okay.
Yeah,
Why was that?
because hmm,
Why was that a favorite?
that was my favorite because that was the first time we actually had speakers to come out.
Okay.
We would always give information on the disease, but sometimes we wouldn't have speakers to be
Okay.
able to come out.
I,
But the American Heart Association also came out, and we were able to, we donate to each cause that we support.
all
So
right.
that's a good thing about it, is a percentage of the proceeds go to these different diseases.
That's interesting. That's very, very interesting.
Mhm.
How did you find the Atlanta market?
Um, I actually knew Fats from a long time ago. We did some shows together, and so when I got ready to do the show, and then I have a family in Atlanta, so
Okay.
I reached out to them to kind of get help on that end,
Yes.
and we just went from there. Like, I called and asked, and he was like, "Whatever you need, it's okay." And him and Miss Terry have been helping me out a whole lot.
Wonderful. They're good people. I've walked for both of them. I know them personally, and I have been with them since I got back into the industry here in Atlanta, 2014, 15.
Hmm.
And so we've known each other a good long time, and I've been privileged enough to be awarded by the Fats Foundation for as a lupus warrior.
Okay.
And then I've been privileged enough to be awarded the ATL's Hottest Mature Model Award 2023, 24, and 24, 25. So I'm a two-peat, and Miss
That's
Terry,
awesome.
Miss Terry was right there with me at ATL's Hottest, and giving me my kudos. And I love her for that. And she's always been very supportive of me being back in the industry at the age that I'm in and doing my thing. And so has Fats,
Hmm.
and several other designers and people here in Atlanta,
Hmm.
So I've been very, very, very fortunate, as far as being able to do what I've done here in Atlanta and walk for the people that have been very renowned here in Atlanta,
Hmm.
doing what I do and enjoying what I do the most, which is, being on the runway.
Hmm.
Podcasting and being a host on Models Talk has taken it to a whole nother level. And I am ever so appreciative of being here and in this seat and being able to do what I'm doing with you. And I'm enjoying myself and having a really good time with it. And talking to people like you keep me inspired, to keep talking about things in the industry. The good, bad, ugly, or indifferent is what this show is about, you
Hmm.
know. And this is a place where producers, directors, and designers and models can come and say what they need to say and not feel like they have any repercussions, you
Right.
to have to adhere to, rules and regulations. I want you to be yourself and come and say what you need to say, you
Hmm.
know. And that's why I wanted you on the show, so you could say what you need to be said, about your show and what's up and coming and what you're looking for and what you won't have done. And let's talk about it.
Right.
The more we know, the better off we'll be.
Exactly.
And if people that tune in and that know, and a lot of models do, we have a very large viewing audience, and they tune in and they like to hear what producers are looking for
Hmm.
when you're looking at your models. Like you said, you want them to be professional, you want them to be respectful, you want them to be on time, you want them to be present when it comes to rehearsals. You don't want anybody half stepping, when
Right.
it comes to doing your shows. Do you have a group, a core group of models that travel with you?
I do. I have a couple models that every place I've been, they've been.
Okay.
And then I also travel with my team. I have 4 team members
Okay.
um, that travel with me. And we kind of like have created a little family.
Okay.
And so we all work together to, make the show run smoothly, and things like that. So, yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, and I know inquiring minds want to know: do you pay your models?
Well, monetarily, I do not pay them because I am a nonprofit organization. And a lot of people donate their time for the different causes. But I try to give them things that some shows don't give. Like I know some people don't feed their models. I make sure that you guys are fed. You have hair and makeup. You have a T-shirt. You have a swag bag. You have all your pictures. I try to compensate you differently because I'm not in a position to pay you monetarily.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay, and that is said in that is known throughout the group chat, right?
Hmm.
Okay, that's good. That's
Hmm.
really good. And that's very nice of you because a lot of shows you don't get a bottle of water with a tissue around it. Okay,
Hmm.
I've been to plenty shows
Wow.
that models are not taken care of, and I always feel, and maybe as a producer, you can tell me if I'm wrong or not. I always feel my personal opinion is if you don't have models, you don't have a show.
That is true. That's
Yeah.
true.
So
You have.
how you feel about that type of opinion?
I feel that that's true because the models are the ones that make the show. I'm behind the scenes. You guys are the ones that's out there doing the work. For people to want to, come back to my events, you guys are a very big part of that. And so I feel like you have to be able to treat your people right.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you do, like I said, many of them travel with me. They don't live here in Houston, but they wherever I go, they go.
Mm-hmm.
So that's because I treat them right. I respect them. I don't um mistreat anybody because that's not the type of person that I am. But I make sure that my models are taken care of. Now let me say this,
Mm-hmm.
because I know as a model, some models do not agree with this at all.
Okay.
But there to do my shows, there is a registration fee. The registration fee covers because we do contracts. We have you guys fill out forms to let us know like your emergency contacts and things like that. So I have to have someone to put those things in place and get them together or whatever. But that's why I try to provide you with so much because a lot of people don't agree with paying that. But this is my thing. You have to look at us as, yes, we are smaller shows, but we struggle. And you can pay $150 to $200 to do New York Fashion Week, but you can't help the smaller businesses. I don't agree with that.
Okay.
A lot of people, they might feel like I'm wrong for that, but I just feel like if I'm a small business and I'm trying to have productive events, some things I'm not going to be able to do on my own. So when you're doing registration fees and things like that, it helps with providing some of the things that you are giving your models. That's just my take on it.
Mm-hmm.
But I know, like I said, a lot of people they don't agree with it. If you tell them, "Oh, I'm not paying to be in the show," it's not that you're paying to be in the show. Is that you're kind of helping to offset some of the things that go along with the show.
Okay. And I understand your position, and a lot of producers have that same position, and there are those shows that models do get paid for and get paid for handsomely. Do you think it's of the same equity for beginners and those that are or have been in the industry for a very long time that are considered professional models that have done more than 150 shows or more than that, over a course of years, you
Mhm.
know should they be compensated versus those that are newbies?
I feel like if you are I call them seasoned models.
Right, exactly.
If you're a seasoned model, I do feel like if you have the budget to pay your models, by all means, I say go for it because you work hard. Well, some of you guys work hard, and you you promote the events. That takes time sometimes. Um, so you deserve to get paid for what you do.
Hmm.
But I don't feel like they should get paid as much as a seasoned model. I'll say that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll
I
say.
I agree. I think there should be tiers, and there are levels of
Mhm,
all types, and there are times when fees are needed, and
mhm,
there are times when fees are not should not be required.
mhm,
And I don't agree personally. I don't agree with having to sell tickets, because I think promoters, directors should be promoting their own shows, and that models should not have to necessarily sell tickets
mhm,
unless they're getting a percentage of the ticket, you
mhm,
know, that they are selling, because you're asking someone that is a model, professional or otherwise, that has a following, to promote your show or a show. I'm not just talking about yours. I'm just saying shows in general, to
mhm,
promote the shows, by giving us a flyer, and you want us to promote. Well, that money that you're garnering from, and I'm just saying this in general, sweetie. I'm not talking about you specifically.
mhm, mhm,
Um, but in general, um, monies that you're garnering from said ticket sales not only go towards you paying for your event space, paying, for your team, paying people to produce flyers. If you're going to pay all those people, then you should pay your models.
mhm,
You find gas money. We as models always say gas money would be great, because you want me to come to this rehearsal, and this rehearsal, and
mhm,
we're not getting anything for that. Even at rehearsals, we're not being taken care of. We don't have water, we don't have snacks, we don't have, it seems like we always start late. We're
mhm,
not starting on time and finishing on time, you
mhm,
know. And that takes time and effort, and it sours us, where we're not even getting gas money. We're not getting paid for the show, the main thing.
mhm,
So we're not even getting paid gas money, but yet fees are being collected to pay for everything else. We don't see that as being equitable.
mhm,
And it's from my personal experience. I don't see it as being equitable, and I'm a seasoned mom. I don't get paid what I'm worth.
mhm,
And so in 2025, I've decided to do the shows that I want to do, versus being asked and asked and asked, and just doing, giving away all of my talent for something I'm not getting anything back for. And I don't need more and more and more exposure. I've got a lot of exposure,
mhm.
and it's always good. I'm not going to turn it down, but
Right,
do something for me as a seasoned mom. Something,
right.
you know. Y- I, I just don't see it being conducive for both parties. It
Mhm.
always is one
You know,
sided.
I see both sides to it. You know, I
Hmm.
see the model sides and I see my side. So
Hmm.
my thing is for 25, I'm pushing for more funding because I am a nonprofit.
Hmm.
So when you have the appropriate funding, then you're able to do more things. So that's my goal for 2025.
I understand that.
Yeah.
I understand that totally. And I have a goal for 2025 too, is to make more money.
And right,
To make
exactly.
money,
Because a lot of people don't know what it takes to put on these shows.
but see, I'm not.
Sometimes you might not you might not hit your ticket sales.
Hmm.
Sometimes you might not have sufficient vendors or designers or whatever to be in the show. So, a lot of things come out of your pocket. Cause like for myself, I don't have any sponsors. Everything that I do, I've done it on my own. So, you know, it's just when people see you, it's like, oh, she got a lot of money because she doing this show and she this, she that. But you, like I said, you don't know what it takes to behind the scenes. It's more than just getting a group of models and saying, hey, you're gonna walk the runway. It's different things to it. Nowadays, everybody want money for what they do, so you have to be prepared for that.
Right. But I also think that and this is my personal opinion, you know, if you can't afford to do it, and my professional opinion, let me say it in both ways. It's if you can't afford to do the show, don't do the show. If you
Hmm.
got to come out your pocket for all those expenses and you can't afford to do it, you're not going to have a productive, viable show where you half stepping some of everything. You know,
Hmm.
you Robin Paula, pay Peter, Owen, Mary, and John. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So,
But I'm the type of person where if I can't do something, I'm gonna tell you up front. I can't do it.
mm-hmm,
Everything that is attached to my name. My mom always tell me, if you're gonna do it right.
absolutely.
So everything that's attached to my name, I try to, do things right. And um, I always set aside for my events. But it's always good to have sponsors and things
Oh,
like
absolutely.
that to help you. But if you can't get those things and you have to do it on your own, like I always said, they always tell me pay yourself. So when I pay myself, I set that stuff to the side so that when I'm doing my shows, I can go in my little stash.
Mm-hmm.
You
Well,
know,
not everybody does that. And then
right?
come off with a half-ass show.
Mhm.
And you expect me to give everything that from coming to rehearsals, 2, 3, 4, 5 rehearsals before a show, unless you have a routine for me. I don't think as a season and I'm saying this strictly for me as a season model, unless you don't have, if we're walking straight European, walking one way down the runway and back down and coming right back, you
Mhm.
and you don't have anything specific for me to do on the runway, why should I have to come to 5 different rehearsals when you know what my work is like?
I get that.
I don't understand that. And then you want me at 5 different rehearsals and you're not paying me. You're
Mhm.
not paying me to come to rehearsal. You're not paying for my gas to be a rehearsal. You're not going to give me a bottle of water. You're not going to feed me a snack at rehearsal. And I'm not the only model in the world that feels this way. I'm just
I
talking
know
about,
it. Yeah.
this is how we feel because this is what Models Talk is about. I hear these things. I hear what's in the background, yeah, and the chitter chatter to be going on. People have come to me and said, have this subject on your Models Talk, please. Maybe some producers will hear you and
Mhm.
how we feel. Well, come on Models Talk and let's talk about it. But
Right.
I don't want to be the one to be the bad guy, you know
Mhm.
putting this out there, but somebody's got to talk about it and put it out in the forefront. What we do in the dark is going to come out in the light, one way or the other.
That's
You
true.
know, and
That,
better to be positive about it and say, look, people are getting tired.
mhm.
People, the ones that are quality, because you can get models all day long.
Yes, you can. But the
You can get
quality.
all day long. But the quality of model that you get matters.
Mhm.
And when you have your designers fit quality models and they go out there and represent for you to the best of their ability, and the models get nothing, that's not right.
Mhm.
It's not right.
I agree. And then most of the time, like myself as being having a clothing line as well,
Mhm.
I give the models their pieces because that's
What?
me showing that I appreciate you for what you did. And
That's
I know most of the designers that I have, they do that as well.
fabulous.
Yeah.
Bravo to you. And I mean that. Bravo to you. Because
Thank
a lot of times producers don't think like that.
you. Hmm.
They're not on the other side and they don't design and they don't have lines and they don't, all they want to do is produce a show and make their dollar.
Hmm.
Well, you're making dollar off of people's back. One of the questions we've had on Models Talk, and I'll say it again, are models being pimped or are they being punked?
Hmm. That's a
Which
good
one
point.
is it?
Hmm.
Because I'm not going to be pimped by anybody.
Right.
and I'm not going to be punked by anybody. If you want me to do something, make it worth my while.
Right.
Because if you can't do that, I can't just keep giving you everything that I've got. If I do that, then I'll have nothing left of self.
Mm-hmm.
And this
Yeah.
is what we talk about, time and time and time again, you know? And it's sad that we have to do that in our industry, but I know we're not being bottom feeders. We're not on the end of the end scale of the industry, but we're not on the top of the top
Right.
either of the
Right.
industry. We're right there, in the middle and coming up,
Mm-hmm.
and try to make this thing happen from the ground up.
Right.
I applaud you in what you do. Thank you. Thank you for doing what you do.
You're
You
welcome.
do that for your models and you make sure your designers are doing that for your models. That's a wonderful thing. That's what we appreciate. And
Right.
these people will come back to you and say, yes, Miss Regina Long, we'll go ahead and walk for you. Love what you did the last time. Here we are. Let's put this quality show on
Mm-hmm.
and have no problem. We will have no problem advertising for you.
Right.
And there will be those that won't have a problem, selling tickets for you. They won't mind, but there are those that still do mind and expect to be treated in the same respect that you would want to be treated in,
Right.
so I think it's a wonderful thing. I think you're going to have a fantabulous show. I want to know, what advice would you excuse me, what advice would you give to other producers that are going to be producing shows?
Um. First, I would say be firm. You can't be friends with every model or every designer. You running a business, so you have to be firm. And I had to learn that because, like I said, I didn't like to hurt people's feelings,
Mm-hmm.
but I had to be firm because if not, you'll get people that want to walk all over you.
You're right.
And communicate. That's a big one. If you have me in your show, I need you to communicate with me. What is it that you want me to do? And you know, when is this gonna be? Or don't just spring things up on me and say, well, hey, today we doing this. That's not how it should be. Um Another thing is to, at first I tried to do everything by myself. Um and then I long after that got a team. So I want people to know it's okay to ask for help. You know, if you need the help, ask for it because there are people that will genuinely help you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's some of advice that I would give new producers.
And what kind of advice would you give your models?
Um, One thing would be watch how you carry yourself because you never know who's in the audience. You never know who's looking at you, who's following you. And, you know, nowadays, the younger generations are watching, you know, models and things like that. So you
Mm-hmm.
don't want to put out the wrong image or have people portray you in a different light than what you really are. So be mindful of how you handle yourself and you handle different things and limit your talk on social media. So that's what I would say.
Absolutely. There's my flyer. Yeah. Yes. 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 Love it. There's Fats. Love it. Love it. I love me some Fats. I don't know who this model is. I can't see.
Her name is Tanya.
All right. There's Miss Tanya. All right, Miss Tanya. Yes. Look at there. All these beautiful women.
Yeah.
You got some bad looking ladies there.
Yes, I'm so excited for them because like I said, a lot of them travel with me everywhere I go.
Mm-hmm.
So we get to, it's like a family and we get to spend that time together and we also get to work together. So it's a good feeling when you have people that you can rely on and they respect you for what you're doing.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right. And what kind of words do you have for your designers?
Um, Make sure you respect the models because they are adults. You know, you don't want to go in and talking to them any kind of way. Make sure that the pieces you are choosing for your models represents that particular person because I always say everybody can't wear everything.
Amen. Say,
So
would you please say that again?
yes, everybody can't wear everything. So, you know, pick the pieces that you feel
That's it.
are appropriate for that particular model. Yeah.
And all models wear undergarments.
Yes. Yes. All models wear undergarments. I even wear them and I'm not in the show. So that's something that's very, very important.
Yes, it is. Well, I wear mine and I try to bring everything I possibly can to the designer and my producer and leave it all on the runway to the
Mhm.
best of my ability. I'm gonna ask you, I'm gonna put you on the spot right now.
Oh,
Uh-oh, uh-oh. I have my business cards. Can I put them in all the chairs?
sure.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. I put them in the swag bags. Can I do
Yeah.
that? Oh, okay. Thank you
Yep.
so much.
I'm always willing to help somebody else, you know, spread the word. Because I was looking at some business cards that I had and they were back from 2019, but it was from people from Atlanta because I
Mhm.
did a show back in 2019. So people do keep up with those things.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
look, I may be old school, but my cards are new school, sweetheart. I even got a QR code on mine. You can scan and go.
Hey, yes, you got to do what you got to do.
Well, I have to thank my producer, Lewis Jones, for doing that. You know, he made sure I had the right kind of cards. And he was like, no, you can't have just an average card. You ain't an average woman.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, I said, well, thank you, brother. Thank you for looking at that. And he created me a QR code. So there we go.
Okay.
Yes, I am on high.
Awesome.
Yes, ma'am. Well,
Okay.
what are your final thoughts, sweetheart? We're coming to the end of the show. Give me some final thoughts.
Um, I would say to anybody that's watching, don't let anybody tell you what you cannot do. If you have a dream, just start. Like, don't keep putting it off until tomorrow because tomorrow is not promised. And you may
Yes,
not be able to get to whatever it is that you want to do. So stay true to yourself and start whatever adventure that you want to do and keep it pushing no matter what people tell you or how they downplay you or your business. Keep pushing.
absolutely. Absolutely. Stand your ground.
Hmm.
Stand your ground. And also, can I add to that? Find your niche.
Yeah.
Find what works for you.
Right.
You know, I'm not saying don't try to go outside the box. You know, but some of us deserve to color outside the lines. You know,
Hmm.
some of us like to be there. You
Yeah.
know, and I'm one of those people. You know, I don't want to be boxed in. You know, I always say I am every woman. I'm bald. I got 80 wigs. I can be any woman I want to be. Oh, I even bring hair to the show. So if my designer has something and she wants hair, I got hair. I bring
Yeah.
big hair, curly hair, little hair. Yes, I do. And a faux hawk. I rock a faux hawk. You know. So I try to go in all places.
Yeah.
And that's why I call myself a consummate model. You know, because I try to come prepared with all things.
Right.
You know, I even bring my own accessories just in case my designer didn't bring anything.
Hmm.
You know, and I share. I like to share with my model sisters and brothers. You know, if because me, I don't like an ugly show.
Right.
So I
Right.
want the best show possible. And if I make
Especially if
somebody
I'm
laugh,
having to sit and watch ugly show, you be like, oh my goodness. No,
What are they thinking?
yeah.
Well, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being on Models Talk. This is your girl, Zaharraa Geyhanna, saying yes, yes, yes. Thank you
You welcome.
very much.